One of the most controversial and toxic units that has ever been released, Fallen Edelgard, is here in Hall of Forms. How well does she fare 3 years later? While she may have fallen from the throne that she undoubtedly had when she first debuted, with all the new skills that are around today, she's actually not as bad right now as you think. With the right investment, she can even tank the menace that is Duo Leon, but we'll get to that later, trust me. But yeah, hey everyone, your favorite Edelgard enjoyer Satoshi here, and this is my first ever Hall of Forms guide for the infamous, the one and only Fallen Edelgard. If you'd like more guides and stuff like this, just let me know in the comments below and give this video a thumbs up. It'll greatly mean the world to me. But yeah, enough stalling, let's get right into this. Fallen Edelgard at the time of this video is about to be 3 years old, which is insane to think about. Man, this game's been around like actually since forever. Fallen Edelgard has an 184 BST with super boons in attack, speed, and resistance. Her only super bane is defense, but unless you're crazy like me and like to meme, you already know you're gonna be dumping that speed stat, let's be honest here. Even now, her stat spread is actually not bad for being 3 years old. That's quite a bit of HP, defense, resistance, and attack with just max flowers, 0 merges, and summoner support. Due to her being a 3-year-old unit, and also being an armored unit, what you want on her Forma will heavily depend on what mode you want to excel in. Let's go over every game mode and see how well she fares and what I believe is her best kits for each game mode. Remember that try not to look at everything just face value. Like, this is a very team-based game, so it's the results will vary depending on your team comp, so always keep that in mind. Ah yes, Arena. This is truly everyone's favorite game mode, am I right? While she isn't the best in terms of scoring, she still scores fairly decently, especially if you have a legendary on your team, then she'll actually score pretty fine. It'll definitely be enough to get into tier 21. The only issue is staying, which will also heavily depend on which season you're on and what other units you have. Now, here's the issue. Unless you're literally any other Edelgard, it actually might be tough because Arena is very unforgiving to armors. Movement and positioning are key in Arena, as you would oftentimes need to bait out certain units to actually pick them off one by one. And that's only if RNG is nice to you with the team you face and the map you get. As tough as it could be to get the kill with this unit in Arena, you should be fine so long as you're aware of the enemy team and who's the weakest one and who you're able to handle. Especially if you have a guidance user on your team, then movement on that part should be fine. This isn't the most optimal skill set in terms of general usage, because low-key at the end of the day, Hardy Fighter Aegis, beats everything, but if you want like a more unique build, I'd obviously recommend this one. This one's really fun, and also this fodder, Fire Flood Boost 3 and Weaving Fighter is super scarce, so I think it's genuinely worth the pickup. I normally always opt for Rally Up skills so that when you buff one person, all your allies get buffed all in one go, or if not, Rally Up, Rally Up, I'll actually go Harsh Command as penalties and debuffs are getting more and more prevalent. Fire Flood Boost 3 is what I choose to run because you generally want mages to be baited out and get killed by her, as they have super low defense as opposed to most physical ranged unit. She doesn't have any form of true damage, so her getting the extra resistance is genuinely fine. Weaving Fighter in every way is kind of just a better armor wall, and it's not even close. The only thing you're missing is the special fighter effect, but it's honestly worth the trade-off. For the Sacred Seal, because of my team comp, I have a whole bunch of units for Arena that could give like effects and whatnot. So I just run Defense Res Form. But if you're not as fortunate as me and you don't have a lot of units that could give bonuses and other effects, you could run like a Breath Seal, so that when you have your far save trigger, she'll get the +1 charge, and then she'll hit back, and then now her Aether is ready for whether you want to initiate on player phase with her, or you want to, if you're confident, she'll tank another hit. The whoever's initiating is going to definitely die. No one's going to tank that either, especially not a ranged unit. When she transforms, you'll be able to Gale Force because of her weapon, and because of the A and B skills, if you decide to just go in and player phase with her, she's going to have very good survivability for whoever you're initiating. Alright, next I want to talk about is Aether Raids. And, alright y'all, I'm going to say this right fucking now. Do not put her in Aether Raids defense. I'm not even going to cap. There's no saving her in Aether Raids defense or as a tank in general in Aether Raids. But, you know where she really does shine though in Aether Raids? Gale Force. Here's my Fallen Edelgard's build, and she's genuinely a really, really good option as a follow-up Gale Forcer. And here's what I have on screen of my beautiful Edelgard Force that I love so, so much. DTM, shoutouts to DTM, also uses Fallen Edelgard as a follow-up Gale Forcer, and oh my gosh, it's like amazing. It's crazy how like really good she is in that role still. Her A skill is super flexible. It can kind of literally be whatever you want as long as she's getting attack, to be honest. And then her B skill, not gonna lie, it's gotta be Monk for it. I mean, she's gonna be a follow-up Gale Forcer, so you have to use Wings of Mercy for it. You have way more options, like way more like offensive options if you just give her Wings of Mercy for it. You have way more leeway to do whatever you want. Just remember to get her to transform in turn 1 while you're setting up, or as soon as possible if you're like, you know, getting like, if your enemy has like a 1-turn like shenanigan going on, you know? Because if she doesn't, she won't be able to Gale Force twice. She'll only be able to Gale Force once. She genuinely is lots of fun, and this is personally my favorite usage of Fallen Edelgard, and literally if they just give her a conditionless transformation effect on her refine, that would genuinely fix probably one of her biggest flaws in Aether Raid's offense for Gale Force. I do want to elaborate a little bit more on the A skill. Again, as long as you're getting anything attack defense related, you're pretty much fine, but obviously since this is Hollow Forms, I suggest getting like attack defense prime or like something that's like, you know, super hard to get, like someone's like a skill that only like one person has. I know I have a friend that uses Fallen Edelgard and put attack speed wild on her. So basically, if someone has a guard effect, she'll always get the breath effect no matter what, you know? Which is really nice. Bold Fighter, she'll hit twice. And then obviously Armor Stride, you want her, if you give her the +1 movement, she's literally, you know, she's literally insane, like actually. So getting her to transform turn 1 is going to be really hard. There's obviously some defenses that have turn 1 shenanigans, which is really annoying, but if you have someone that's named Asker, he can pretty much solve that issue. And on top of that, he's also a really good support on his own for Gale Force. So I would, because of that, if you have an Asker, I would definitely prefer running her in Light Season as opposed to Astra, so that, you know, you can have more consistent usage of her in Aether Raid's offense for Gale Force. So yeah, that, I mean, here's again my clear my Adel Force. It's with freaking Fallen Edelgard. She's amazing. I have mine only Wings of Mercy 3, but you know, it's still just as good. As what matters is you using her as like as long as you put Wings of Mercy on her and transform turn 1 somehow, you're fine. Like she's actually gonna work wonders. Like I'm actually surprised how well she and like how often she kind of like kills things. Obviously, Dark Season, I believe, has Medius, so that's also something you want to look out for if you decide to use Bolt Tower or not. I personally don't, because I don't need it, because I have Winter Edelgard, so I don't need Bolt Tower. I have like the flame effects and whatnot, so that's gonna be mad fun. And yeah, that's pretty much her builds in Aether Raids, honestly. Alright, it's time for everyone's real favorite game mode in Fire Emblem Heroes, and it's Summoner Duels. Now, I want to preface this one more time, and then I also want to explain something else. This is very heavily dependent on the team comp, okay? That's one thing I want to get out. That's one major thing. Second, all these calcs are 1v1s, and on top of that, it's also, tried really hard to not give Fallen Edelgard like the benefit of the doubt whatsoever. The only thing I consistently gave her was summoner support, and a super boon in res and defense. She's +0. I tried giving her everything, like, you know, that, like, super mega, like, you know, if you don't have emerges on her, then, you know, I tried putting that into consideration, you know. Her enemies, I put almost all of her enemies at least 5, like +5, with summoner support and max flowers. And super boons and attack and speed. I tried really, like, not giving Edelgard, like, again, the benefit of the doubt for, like, a lot here. So I really hope you guys don't think that, oh, Satachi's just super wanking off Edelgard, you know? Like, no, I tried boosting everyone up to a semi-unrealistic degree. So I just want to preface that, okay? And this is without support from either of these, from either Edelgard or her opponents. I'm trying to make it as fair as possible because, again, I don't know what's in your box, you know? So I'm just showing you 1v1s because that's all you need to know. I don't know your box, you know? So I just want to make that clear. I hope that's fair. I really hope so. But, yeah, let's get right into it. So I have 3 major builds for summoner duels. And again, it's very dependent on your box. Everything else that every other build that I made for Arena and Aether raids, again, even if you don't have Asker, I think that build that I showcased was perfect for her. For Gil Force, of course. For Arena, that far save build, I'm like, okay, that should be fine no matter what, like, supports or other units you have in your team. Here, I'm trying to do the same thing. So her first build, Hardy Fighter Aegis, and I'm saying this right now, every build's gonna have Hardy Fighter Aegis. It always goes back to Hardy Fighter Aegis. I'm opting for defense res far save because just like in Arena, survivability is key, especially in summoner duels. If your tank, even if your tank doesn't kill the opposing enemy, it's fine. As your far save's job is to live, like 1 encounter, maybe 2. You know, 2. Obviously, the more it lives, the better. But you know, as long as it lives once, I think that's like the quote-unquote standard. You know. So I have 3 major builds. So let's go over every single one of them. So I have Hardy Fighter Aegis, Fire Flood Boost 3, Defense Res Far Save, and then the seal is HP +5, Defense Res +3. This is almost like every, like, because if you were like Defense Res form, you're not getting as much, like, quote-unquote, like, stats, if that makes sense. The HP is really nice, and then you're also getting Defense Res +3. So that's also really good. You're technically are getting overall more stats, which is really nice. Which, again, survivability, you need that. So here's her matchup spread. So I got 8 of the most, like, used, not like they're not in any order, but like I got some of the most used units in summoner duels that are ranged threats, and here's how this build in particular does. Again, I'm giving Yunaka every benefit of the doubt. I got the 3 spaces, attack speed catch, like I'm giving her like everything, you know. And here's her matchup spread. She actually lives Winter Yunaka. She super lives Chloe, and look at that. She lives Duo Neon with this build. That is insane. There's not a lot of units that, even with Hardy Fighter Aegis, like, doesn't that, you know, that lives. Like, I have a +10 Winter Male Byleth, and again, this is where I say team compositions matter. It very much heavily, you know, matters on what team comp you and your opponent have. So, get this information, do what you will with it. I'm just showing you 1v1 stuff because, again, I don't know your box, so, you know, that's how I'm trying to, like, I guess measure this, if that makes sense. Camilla, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of things just can't take fucking 40 burn damage, you know? Hinoka, I don't think I have to explain that. And look, I'm like super... Hold on. So let's go in order. Okay, so Chloe. She has all of her stuff active. I even gave her Blade Session so she gets more attack and speed. And she still does not really do much to freaking Fallen Edelgard, which I think is really funny. Also, +5. I haven't seen a single merged up one yet, so I just want to put that out there. Leon. Let's look at Leon. Again, I gave him every benefit of the doubt. I even gave him the +9 attack from Blade Session just to, like, you know, see how well he does. And it genuinely did not matter. Next is Camilla. Again, burn damage just goes crazy. Well, what can I say? Genuinely, what can I say? Hinoka. I don't think I have to explain that one. Genuinely. Oh, I want to talk about this one. Agreeing. Again, +5. Gave her the Blade Session, even though no one really runs Blade Session in Summoner Duels. It's kind of easy to work around that. And Summoner Support, Max Flowers. And she only kills. She only has 8 overkill. So, this unit had 9 more defense, which you could do through, like, Legendary Male Robin, or like any other support, she actually would have lived that. I think, like, everything that's like... I personally, if it's like less than 10, it's a quote-unquote winnable matchup. You could win it with the right support, it's just, you know, you just didn't. It's winnable, if that makes sense. Again, with the right setup. Next is Aether, 6 overkill. She barely died by that. Legendary Male Crom. No, male Crom. There's a female Crom. Why did I say that? Legendary Crom. I don't think I have to explain that either. But here's what I will say. Check this out. Sivalan Shield. She still loses. Crom. I mean, not she. He still loses. Why am I thinking of like a female Crom? What is wrong with me? Anyway. He still loses. Crom is just a matchup, and even Hinoka, they're just matchups that... Losing matchups exist, and it happens. Does it suck? Yeah. There's no tank that's going to beat everything in the game. Look, she could tank Leon, but not Crom. If you ask me, I think that's worth the trade, but that's just me. And again, even with Sivalan Shield, which, oh, by the way, I'm not telling you to get Sivalan Shield in the Hall of Forms. I really want to stress that out. Even with Sivalan Shield, it's 9 overkill. Again, you could still probably, like, make this work. Like, genuinely. What you make? Oh, I just realized I forgot to give him a seal, so probably never mind, actually. Watch, let's give him, again, I'm just gonna give him super mega benefit of the doubt, +9 to attack and speed. Okay, now it's a 20 overkill. Alright, so scratch what I said. Next is this build that I'm kind of a big fan of. So, Defense Res Unity, I'm low-key a big fan of because it seems... Yeah, you clearly win the most matchups here with Defense Res Unity. You basically just now survive Aether, which is really fucking cool. And this Aether is, again, +5. I really am trying so hard to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I don't think you're going to find a +5 Aether. Or like, I personally, I think I've only ever ran into like one +10 Camilla in Summoner Duels in like the past, like literally since she freaking came out, you know? Like, I'm trying really hard to give everyone else the benefit of the doubt. And again, this is without support. Now, these are basically her matchup spreads. If you get any one of these 3 builds, you can tank Dual Leon, which I think is really insane. I personally am a bigger fan of the Defense Res Unity for Summoner Duels, and here's why. So, this is where I'm going to start saying, okay, for her best partners, without a doubt, it's Legendary Male Robin. hands down. Like genuinely, that is literally her best partner. So hold on, where is it? Grand strategy, boom. And then on top of that, you know who else I think is a really good support for Fallen Edelgard? If you don't like want to run like defense res unity, so let's take that out real quick. You know who else is a really good support? Vale. Vale is super, super good. I think she's one of the best like supports in the game. And look, she wins another matchup here because of Vale support, which is actually kind of insane. I think what now she wins Yunaka. I forgot what it was. Who did she win now? What was that always for? That was someone else. Oh, I think it was Saether. Yeah, it was Saether. Now she wins a Saether matchup because Saether doesn't proc a special. Because this has guard, and she's getting the whatchamacallit. She's getting she's getting the guard from the A skill, and now she's getting Scowl from Vale, which is really nice. A good alternative is Weaving Fighter, but if I'm gonna be honest, that's a bit too inconsistent, and it very much again depends on your team comp. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase these because, okay, in my opinion, I'm always like a big fan of, oh my god, the top tier unit, Leon, she survives, but then like the person that's like under him, oh no, she like doesn't beat, that's weird. I personally think that's like a good like balancing design. I've always been a fan of that, if I'm gonna be honest, because then it's like, oh, okay, you might beat the best, you know, quote unquote range nukes in the game, but the lower units you have like the low, like, I'm not saying everyone here's low tier. I'm just saying, but like, oh, you have to like probably look out for low tiers or something, you know, like, okay, like the best analogy I can come up with is like, sorry for bringing this up, but like Smash 4 for the Wii U, Corrin, they did pretty good with against like high end tiers and some top tiers. But Corrin's issue was that he actually could not fight mid tiers for the life of him. He was actually not good at that, and I personally think that's like good game design, honestly, because then also just pushes, you know, you using quote unquote lower tier units, which I think is great. Again, these are her matchups with these three builds. Again, Defense Res Unity and Fire Flood Boost 3 I think are her best options. And yeah, if you cannot get Hardy Fighter, then obviously I'd suggest Weaving Fighter 4. Or not Weaving, yeah, just Weaving Fighter. But again, it just heavily depends on your team comp. I don't know what you have. If you think you're confident enough to like go Weaving Fighter instead of Hardy Fighter, which personally I don't think you should do, then go for it. Again, I don't know what's in your box, but here's what the Sims look like with these builds that I found, and I think they're very interesting. I already have Defense Res Unity, so I'm personally going to go Fire Flood Boost 3 and Hardy Fighter 3 for my Fallen Edelgard. Obviously, Aegis is really easy to get, so I'd suggest getting Armored Flow or Armored Beacon, or if you really want to be silly, get Armored Blaze, sure, why not, you know? But yeah, this is pretty much her Hall of Forms guide. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you genuinely liked it. I might do this again, maybe not. Edelgard's one of my favorites, so I just wanted to showcase how I would use this unit and, like, you know, try climbing to the top with it. I don't think I'm gonna, you know, try out Fallen Edelgard in Summoner Duels, maybe. I think she'll obviously she'll like be like a funny like anti-Leon like throw-off pick, because that's ultimately what this is gonna be. This is gonna be like a throw-off pick, you know. For Summoner Duels S, you know, they'll be like, oh, I'll bring dual Leon because they're bringing fucking Edelgard. What the fuck is wrong with them? And then you just, you know, again, you just see this shit and she just tanks him. So that's one less person you gotta worry about. But yeah, that's pretty much the guide. Again, don't take everything at face value. This game's very team-based dependent, so I tried giving as much builds as I can and just go what you think will work best for you. This is what I think is gonna be, you know, her best her best builds, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you want more of these. If you don't want more of these, if I'm a fucking idiot, go for it. I don't care. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.